Hey, church family. I wanted to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement as we continue to pray for the recovery of our country. Now, as we consider all of the data before us today, we can rejoice in knowing that the virus is burning out here in America. Evidence of this, well, it can be seen in the fact that the CDC is no longer requiring a 14-day quarantine after returning from foreign travel. Not only that, but a graph found at the CDC website also reveals that the hospitalizations caused by COVID-19, they're the lowest they've been since March the 21st. That's right. The hospitalizations of those who are suffering from COVID-19, the number is comparable to the number of hospitalizations that occurred back in the middle of March. And this is excellent news. Not only that, but we can also rejoice in knowing that 92% of the deaths that were initially projected, they never occurred. 92% of the deaths that were initially projected, they never occurred. Remember, it was back in the middle of March when the mainstream media presented us with the Imperial College model. And, that model, it predicted a COVID death toll of 2.2 million people here in America. Now, based on that model, the government proceeded to shut down the economy, they shut down the schools, they shut down the churches, they shut down everything except for those things that they deemed essential. And as a result, 2,024,000 Americans have been spared from certain death. That's right. Listen, if the Imperial College model was correct, and there was in fact a reason for all the lockdowns, then we can rejoice that the Trump administration has essentially saved the lives of 2,024,000 Americans. Now, if you on the other hand, think that the Imperial College model was wrong, and if you think that the predicted death toll of 2.2 million people was way off, well, then we can also breathe a sigh of relief as we realize that this virus isn't as powerful as was initially predicted. And if that's the case, then well, why are we still living in fear? Why are we still, living in lockdown? Now, in order to put our risk of dying from COVID-19 into a proper perspective, one researcher actually created a comparative chart which reveals this. Listen, babies under the age of 1, they have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do getting struck by lightning. Toddlers between the ages of 1 and 4 have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do of being killed by, a dog attack. Children between the ages of 5 to 14 have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do being swallowed by an earthquake. Those who are between the ages of 15 and 24, they have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do from drowning. Adults between the ages of 25 and 34 have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do falling down the stairs. Those who are between the ages of 45 and 54 have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do dying in a fire. Those between the ages of 55 and 64 have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as they do dying in an automobile accident. And those between the ages of 65 and 74, well, they have the same chance of dying from COVID-19 as a professional truck driver who dies in an accident. Now, to sum up, all of this risk of dying from COVID-19, we have to understand that this is all relatively low. It's all relatively low. And regardless of whether you think that we've flattened the curve or you believe that the curve was never as large, it wasn't as large as it was initially promised, either way, what we see is that there's no real reason for us to think that there's still a reason for the lockdown. Now, as we consider the risk versus reward ratio, regarding our own church attendance, I'm here to tell you that the risk of attending church is minimal. And the reward, well, it's everlasting. I like the way that Paul put it in Hebrews chapter 11. There he declares, without faith, it's impossible to please him, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Christian, listen, there are everlasting rewards for those who diligently seek the Lord. And it's for this reason that I encourage every believer, let's walk by faith as we return to our Christian congregation. And while I realize that there is always a risk involved every time we leave the house, it's important for us to remember that the risk of dying from COVID-19, well, it's similar to the risk of dying in an automobile accident, on our way to church. Trust me when I tell you that the everlasting rewards, they are most certainly worth the risk. Now, with this as the goal, I invite you to join us here at Calvary South Austin as we continue to diligently seek the Lord. If you want to know more about our service times and the measures that we're taking to sanitize our facilities, well, you can find all this information right here at calvarysouthaustin.com. I hope to see you soon. But until then, let's continue to fight the good fight of faith, all for the glory of God.